Ryan, if you can, let's start off by talking about how you actually got your start in the oil and gas industry.
Okay. I took a job with Schlumberger as a mechanical engineer, had a mechanical engineering undergrad, and great firm, great job, but I knew it wasn't for me long term. So I knew I liked to travel, and I knew I had an engineering degree, so I was like, okay, how can I combine those things? And quite literally, my criteria was what kind of engineer gets to travel the most internationally. So at the time, this is 2005, 2006, the nice cushy expat gigs were in vogue, and I really wanted one of those. I thought that'd be a really good lifestyle. So went and got a graduate degree in petroleum engineering and did a little course correction. So most people have some sort of legacy involvement or grew up kind of, it just seemed really exciting. But yeah, mine was just I just wanted to travel, and my first job after grad school was in Argentina. So I did get my wish.
That is pretty neat.
It only lasted for 6 months though, and then the 2009 price crash happened. So had to come back home, but it was something.
Yeah, at least you got to travel. That is an interesting path, though. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, do you have any advice for younger professionals? Particularly, we know this year is just unimaginable, but thinking about the oil and gas industry and moving forward, any advice for them getting into it?
Yeah, so I've been through 3 crashes now. That was the first one that good intro to the industry. And every single one, there's things become popular. Capital moves around. Numbers kind of look the same, and putting it into today's context, we've got assets in the Permian Basin. So when oil prices and service costs reach a certain threshold, things look really nice. Things look very economic, but that works literally for everyone else with assets around us and across the entire basin and multiple basins and all around the world. Acting in unison, we do have the power, as we've seen, to crash or put a lot of pressure on oil price. So that this was happening before COVID. Obviously, COVID certainly maybe a once in a lifetime event, but that we did cause a lot of downward pressure just by the prodigious amounts of supply. And a little more context there. North America has been the sole source of growth in liquids production over the last 15 years in the shale era. The other 6 continents, but not much in Antarctica, they're flat the last 15 years. So it's been all us. So moving forward, if someone finds themselves in a situation where they're in management, budgeting and planning or something, obviously something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
We sell a commodity, and demand and supply are quite inelastic.
A lot to navigate there. Can you think about any challenge that was particularly a point for you that you can pinpoint that you overcame and really helped shape you as well in your career?
It probably was the crash, particularly 2009, but every subsequent crash, and I think my worldview right now has been informed by what's going on right this second. So there's a certain amount of grit one must have to survive, and as long as you have that, if you want to be in the oil and gas industry, it's important. Otherwise, it just doesn't look great right now. So, and we've got 130 years of the oil industry, and every single time there's a peak to match the trough. So we just got to hold out. So.
And with that, what about work-home life balance? That could be the million-dollar question for people, but do you have any advice there? You mentioned, of course, you like to travel, so that was something that went into your thought as far as where you would work, but what about any balance there? Can you share any advice there?
It does. The crashes do make things, especially when we've got a small oil and gas company. We don't have. We're not Exxon. We do not have. The Exxon-sized balance sheet. it does put a lot of stress on people. That's where the grit comes in. You just have to keep going and survive. And the longer you can survive, the more likely you are to hit a very nice, violent rebound on the way back up.
Good advice there. To having that grit makes a lot of sense. We really appreciate you sharing your time with us, and congratulations on this honor as well, Ryan.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And for Heart Energy, I'm Jessica Morales.